Hello, trading is closed on August 4th, 2020. We'll do our standard disclaimer, go over yesterday's call, then make a significant long-term prediction. Just to remind you, I don't know how we'll open tomorrow. I'm basing what I say based on today's closing prices. If we gap sharply, that's information I don't have and the call is killed before the open. If you have your own opinion, feel free to post it. Just don't post it without giving a reason. End of speech. We called yesterday for the pattern with the early high. We said there was a weak pattern yesterday, and we looked for lower prices to print absent a gap over this high, but we said that did not guarantee a lower close, and that's what happened. Here's what we said. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low. MEJT gave a number of calls today. Here it said ultimately lower prices would print. They did. That's not much. We usually get more. We did. It said this drop was false, would retrace. Said this rally was false, it would retrace. The afternoon said ultimately lower prices would print. That this rally was false, and that's played out. It's kind of disappointing that this break didn't work, but maybe it'll have a second chance. There are two reasons I'm looking for the end of the rally leg. One is I can't count the correction as being complete. There should be a wave blue C at some point. And the other is I have too many unsatisfied MEJT targets on this rally. They don't have to print anytime soon. With an 18-year history of the system, that many targets so close together are going to print at some time. Well, this is my long-term count, and when you connect the lows of wave 2 and 4, you can draw some parallel lines. One runs through the highs of waves 1 and 3. And if you draw a third parallel line, hits the high of wave B, hits this low, and at the price not too different, maybe 10 points over today's high, it'll hit tomorrow. So that's trend line resistance. We also have resistance from the prior consolidation, which has taken years to form, and the longer these things go, the stronger the resistance. Here's the internal part of the consolidation, your 61.8% target. And if you look at the external part of the consolidation, it's also 61.8, and that creates powerful Fibonacci resistance of the price slightly over where we are now. Now I've had some long-term targets for the end of the ABC down. The higher one, the most likely one, is 2097.20. And if wave C starts around here and hits this target, if that's wave C, you'll get a pretty picture when C equals A. So you have an ABC with C equal to A, and all these trend lines work. Now, just because that works doesn't mean some other numbers won't. But just be aware there's strong price resistance slightly over where we are now, and a friend of mine has a timing system which hits tomorrow. So if we do get a slightly higher high tomorrow, we'll have time and price compatible with a high then. So tomorrow's pattern has the early low. Typically it's a rally day with an early low and the final hour high. Early weakness portends further declines in the days to come. Last hour high usually exceeds the early low but doesn't have to. There's intense resistance slightly above today's high. There's also a timing peak coming in tomorrow. Sentiment indicators remain too bullish for me. My next candidate for a high of this leg is tomorrow at a price slightly over today's high. Now remember, just because that target works doesn't mean other targets don't. And until some prior lows fall, one can't be certain the rally leg's over. But even though it's a pattern with the early low and the late high, even though it looks like higher prices tomorrow, I still think it's a time for caution, and that's my reason why. And that's today's call.